On a quiet, rainy night, Jennifer was staying at her grandmother's old house, the kind of house that always smelled like books, polished wood, and memories that never really left. It was close to 9 o'clock, and the whole house felt sleepy, except for Jennifer. She was 10 years old, curious in the unstoppable way only brave children can be, the kind who could turn one unfinished sentence into a full adventure. Earlier that evening, her grandmother had smiled and said, "If you get bored, you can look around the attic. Just be careful with the old things." To Jennifer, that did not sound like a warning. It sounded like an invitation.
She climbed the narrow staircase to the attic, each step making a sound like it was remembering someone else's feet. The attic door opened with a long sigh. Inside were trunks, old suitcases, mirrors hidden under white cloth, forgotten toys, and shelves crowded with objects, too strange to throw away. Rainlight came through a tiny window and silver stripes. Jennifer moved slowly at first, brushing dust from boxes, lifting lids, peeking under fabric, until she saw a small wooden case resting on top of an old cabinet, as if it had been left there for exactly one person to find.
She took the box down and opened it. Inside was a small golden clock unlike any she had ever seen. It was round, delicate, engraved with tiny stars and crescent moons, and its hands were frozen at 11:59. The strange part was not that it was old. The strange part was that it looked alive, polished, warm, almost waiting. Beneath it lay a folded note. Jennifer opened it and read the old handwriting. "Do not touch after sunset, unless you are ready to hear the sound of escaped seconds." Jennifer stared at the words for exactly one heartbeat. Then, because she was Jennifer, she reached for the clock.
The moment her fingers touched the metal, the clock answered, not with a full chime, not with movement, just one sound, tick. But that single tick changed everything. The air itself seemed to stop. Dust hanging in the light froze in place. The curtain by the attic window stopped in the middle of its flutter. Below, Jennifer heard the family cat begin a meow, and the sound sliced off halfway through. Her heart lurched. She ran out of the attic and down the hall, and then she stopped so suddenly she almost fell.
The whole house had frozen. Her grandmother stood in the kitchen holding a spoon in midair. Steam from a teacup hovered above the table like glass. The cat was suspended in the middle of a jump. Outside the window, raindrops hung motionless in the dark, each drop shining like a tiny bead of silver. Jennifer turned in a slow circle and whispered, "Am I the only one moving?" From the far end of the hallway, another voice replied, "No, not anymore."
A boy stepped out from the deepest corner of the hall, a place where the light did not quite reach. He looked close to Jennifer's age, but not completely real. He seemed made of shadow and moonlight at the same time, with edges that blurred and sharpened as if he belonged to the room and did not belong there at all. His eyes were wide and sad and watchful. Jennifer stepped back. He lifted one hand quickly. "Don't be scared. If I wanted to hurt you, I wouldn't have waited until now." Jennifer swallowed. "Who are you?" He looked at the clock in her hands and said, "I'm what remains when a minute forgets itself, and I came to warn you. Something escaped."
"Escaped from where?" Jennifer asked. The boy glanced again at the clock and said, "From the frozen seconds. That clock was never meant to be touched lightly. It seals the cracks between moments. When you woke it, one of those cracks opened, and something that had been trapped there slipped out." Jennifer held the clock closer without meaning to. "What is it?" His voice dropped lower. "A creature that feeds on small pieces of time. It does not take people first. It takes moments. A laugh before it is heard, a word before it is spoken, a memory before it settles in the heart. If we do not stop it before true midnight, time will start again, but it will start incomplete."
"Incomplete? How?" Jennifer asked. The boy's face darkened. A mother may wake and forget the last hug her daughter gave her. A grandmother may lose the sound of a story she used to tell. A child may forget why a certain summer day felt bright and perfect. A whole town could lose the tiny moments that made it alive.
Jennifer looked toward her grandmother Frozen and felt the adventure change shape inside her. It was not just strange now, it mattered. Then how do we stop it? The boy turned and pointed toward the door. We follow it. It leaves traces, silver threads, cracks in stillness.
They stepped outside, and Jennifer saw the world in a way no one was ever meant to see it. A car sat halfway around a corner. A bird hovered with its wings open. On the other side of the street, a little boy held an ice cream that leaned without dripping. The town looked like a painting, beautiful and wrong and far too quiet. Somewhere in the still night was the sound of scattered ticking, like the heartbeat of a giant broken clock hidden beneath the streets.
The boy pointed ahead. Thin silver lines shimmered in the air between houses, drifting toward the center of town. It went that way. Jennifer walked beside him and asked, "What's your name?" He was silent for a long moment. Then he answered, "I don't remember." She looked at him in surprise. When you stay too long between forgotten seconds, names begin to fade. I remember running once, laughing, being afraid of the dark. I remember being a real boy, but my name... He shook his head. That part is gone. Jennifer felt an unexpected ache for him. "So, until we find it," she said, "I'll call you Noor, because you're part shadow, but you still look like light." He gave her the smallest smile. "That isn't my name, but I like it."
They reached a little park near the school, and there Jennifer saw the first clear sign of the escaped thing. Above a frozen swing hung a shape made of black smoke and restless silver sparks, the only thing moving in a world that had stopped. It did not keep one shape for long. 1 second it looked like a bird made of ash, the next like a hand, then like a laughing face with no eyes. Suddenly a burst of children's laughter came from inside it, bright and real, and then the sound was swallowed back into darkness. Jennifer gasped, "It's stealing voices." Noor shook his head. Not just voices, moments, anything unguarded.
Jennifer lifted the golden clock and the creature twisted toward it immediately, sensing it like a hungry thing smelling fire. Lines of light raced across the clock's surface, and the second hand twitched forward one tiny step. "It wants the clock," Noor said. "If it takes it, it can choose how time breaks." "What do I do?" "The clock answers what time fears losing most: memory, names, promises. Think of something true." Jennifer closed her eyes and remembered her grandmother beside her bed in winter nights, saying in a low, gentle voice, "Some clocks measure time, and some measure love." The clock burst with golden light. The creature recoiled as if the memory had burned it.
The creature fled at once, streaming away like smoke caught in a storm, racing towards the old clock tower in the middle of town. Noor turned sharply. That's the worst place it could go. If it reaches the heart of the tower, it can widen the broken second. They ran through silent streets, past people frozen mid-sentence, balconies holding still flowers, and dogs with ears lifted toward sounds that had not happened yet. Jennifer felt fear, yes, but something else was growing stronger beside it. She understood, maybe for the first time in her life, that courage wasn't the absence of fear, it was walking anyway.
The inner air door of the clock tower stood slightly open. They slipped inside and began to climb a spiral staircase wrapped in cold blue darkness. The higher they climbed, the stranger the tower felt. The walls whispered, snatches of old lullabies, half-finished apologies, echoes of laughter, lost words turning in circles. Jennifer suddenly heard her grandmother's voice saying her name, warm and clear, and then the sound warped and vanished. She froze on the stair. It's taking her memories too. Noor looked straight at her. Do not let it have what belongs to you. Fear feeds it. Remembering breaks it.
At the top, beneath the enormous gears and iron hands of the tower clock, the creature had grown huge. It was a storm of shadow and silver, and inside spun stolen fragments of life. A tear, a laugh, the words, "I love you," a creak of a front door, a melody from a music box. And there among them, Jennifer saw something that made her breath catch. An image of her grandmother as a girl, holding the very same golden clock. "My grandmother knew about this," Jennifer whispered. The creature turned towards her, and when it spoke, its voice was made from many broken voices at once. "Give me the clock, and I will return a minute you miss." For one dangerous second, the offer felt powerful.
"No!" Nor shouted. "It never gives back what it takes. It only trades truth for imitation." The creature lunged. Nor threw himself in front of Jennifer, and the shadow struck him hard. His body flickered. His arms began to fray into smoke. Jennifer cried out, "Nor!" He looked back at her
as pieces of him dissolved into darkness. "Forgotten things," he said quietly, "are easy to break." And that was when Jennifer understood. The creature was strong because forgotten things were weak. So the answer was not force. The answer was to refuse forgetting. She stepped forward, clutching the clock, and said in a clear, fierce voice, "I see you, and I remember. You are not just a shadow."
Jennifer moved closer to him despite the danger. "Maybe I don't know your real name yet," she said, "but I know this. You stood with me. You protected me. You didn't leave me alone. People like that do not disappear. I will remember you. I promise." The clock blazed brighter than ever before. Golden light flooded the gears above them. The creature screamed like cracking glass. Nor became clearer, steadier, more real. His face settled. Warmth entered his eyes. Then he whispered, stunned, "I remember part of it. Someone used to call me Elias." The moment the name was spoken, the dark storm split down the middle.
Jennifer opened the clock, and for the first time, she saw that it held no ordinary gears inside. Instead, it contained a small turning sky, full of moving stars. She reached toward the creature as it twisted in panic and said, "Every second has a place. You don't get to steal them anymore." One by one, the stolen moments poured out of it. Laughter, whispers, songs, memories, names, and returned to the clock as bright sparks. With one final shriek, the creature collapsed into a tiny black point and vanished into the second hand itself. The clock snapped shut. Its hands moved from 11:59 to 12 o'clock.
At once, everything returned. Rain fell, the cat completed its jump. Wind moved through the trees. The bell in the tower rang. Jennifer found herself standing outside her grandmother's house again, the golden clock in her hand, her breath quick and warm in the night air. It felt impossible, as if everything had happened in less than a second, or inside the hidden space between 2 seconds.
She stepped back into the house and found her grandmother standing in the kitchen doorway, watching her with a strange calm that made Jennifer stop. Her grandmother smiled gently. "So, you found the clock?" Jennifer stared. "You knew?" Her grandmother did not answer right away. She set a teacup on the table and said, "Some things in a family only choose the right person. The more important question is not what you saw. The important question is whether you saved what needed saving." Jennifer looked down at the clock. Its hands were moving normally now. But for one brief second, reflected in the glass, she saw a boy standing at the end of the hallway, smiling.
Jennifer smiled back, her fear finally fading into something warmer. "Yeah, I think I did." That night, she kept the clock beside her bed, not because she feared it, but because some secrets once faced stop being curses and become responsibilities. And just before she drifted to sleep, she heard the faintest whisper by the window. "Thank you for remembering me." Jennifer did not answer out loud. She didn't need to. Sometimes the thing that saves time is simple. Sometimes all it takes is being remembered.